Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. Jack Roser, our founder, and myself have Representative Tom Morrison with us, and we're talking about his bill in Springfield. Tom, what were you saying about the pension system? You were just saying something during break about really how...
Well, what my bill would do is it would convert current workers from a defined benefit plan into, going forward, into a defined contribution plan. So what that would effectively mean is, if someone has worked for the state of Illinois for 15 years, when they reach retirement age, their pension would be based upon 15 years credit with working for the state. Or working for a school district, if they taught for 25 years, then their defined benefit part, the part that's promised by taxpayers, they get paid that amount. But if they work for another 10, that teacher is contributing to a defined contribution plan where the benefits are not guaranteed, just simply the contribution is guaranteed. So a teacher would get a 7% match to a defined contribution plan, to a 401k, essentially.
Are the teachers going to be getting less money?
Well, it depends on how the markets do. I mean, that's in a 401k, the employee and the employer both contribute to a retirement account that invests in the stock market, just like the pension systems invest in the stock market. And if the markets do really, really well, well, then the employees benefit. And if it does, you know, if it softens up a little bit, well, then there's some of the risk is shared by the employees. But with our current system, and again, the pension systems are invested in the markets just like the rest of us.
The pensions are invested in the market.
Teachers' retirement system, the state employee system, they all invest in the market. They all invest, and you know, we have some legislators who want to divest of gun manufacturing shares, you know, for example. You know, so they're invested in the stock market just as regular citizens are. The difference is if the markets don't return what the pension systems expect, guess who makes up the difference?
The taxpayers.
The taxpayers. You and I make up the difference.
Yeah,
and so,
but none of us taxpayers are having assured pensions. We don't get that. What you get is your 401k pension that you and your employer invest in, and that doesn't go bankrupt. It can go inadequate if the politicians spoil the value of the dollar. Your savings in your 401k are going to buy the right number of dollars that you thought they were going to be, but they're going to be kind of more worthless. Or in the time my business has been running, the dollar has decreased to about 14 cents from what it was when I went into business. It was a full 100 cents back then. It's now worth about 14 cents. So if that were invested in my pension, that's what I would get, would be 14 cents, not 100 cents.
Yeah. So I just want to talk a little bit.
You can't debauch the whole economy like Obama's doing and put us in debt as badly as he did without having inflation hit you between the ears. It's going to get us all. That's why I tell young people, vote for Obama, sucker, you're going to pay the bill.
So what my bill would do is the state right now makes a pension payment of roughly $6 billion
out
a year
to retirees,
to the 5 state pension plans.
Okay.
But because of compounding of the cost of living increase, because of longer life expectancy, because of all these things that we've talked about, that annual pension payment is going to dramatically increase.
Will it double?
Over the next 30 years.
Will it double?
Yes, it will double over the next 30 years, yes.
Now, with your plan, could people get Social Security?
There's facts to handle here, and that's the fact that in the last go-around on this thing 2 years ago, Madigan passed a bond issue for $3.7 billion, okay? And why did he do that? It's because the funds in the pension thing weren't enough to pay the pensions that were promised, so he had to cough up. He ran through $3.7 billion of debt that the kids are going to pay for, or somebody is going to pay for, but it goes up every year because actually the total deficit, if you really look at how bad it's gotten, is probably about $160 billion. So that's roughly $4 billion of one year, and meanwhile, they got about $7 billion over here of people that are in bed and various troubles in a hospital and all of that kind of stuff. Those bills aren't getting paid, but Madigan's taking care of what the unions want him to pay, is this stinking huge debt in the pensions. The $4 billion is not going to be enough. Soon it'll be $8 billion, $20 billion, $40 billion. That's what's going to happen to the pensions, because it is completely bust due to the ones that have already quit work and they're getting pensions. Think what happens. Your superintendent's making $200,000 a year, way more than he's worth, and he's got some fancy pants advisor that can't be a normal advisor. You got to have an education thing to do it. That one's probably making about $160,000. They'll get pensions increasing. They'll go into a pension that goes up every year. They'll be making more on pension than they ever made as superintendent, and that'll happen for a series, about 6 of them out here will be making as much or more than the one on the job. So your superintendent that's working there has got 6 guys that went out before him that are going to be paid pensions bigger than what that guy's got. This is insanity of a high order.
Well, this is the one problem with only talking about the ones at the high end. And I actually thought about proposing a bill to cap pensions at $100,000. Mm-hmm. It doesn't touch the problem. It would only take a very small percentage off of the unfunded liability. You've got to reform the entire pension system from the $200,000 administrator even down to the $40,000 per year teacher. You have to be, and if you don't, the people who are at the lower end, the younger workers, are at risk of getting nothing.
We're going to come back with Tom Morrison. Stay with us.